Akhenaten, originally named Amenhotep IV, was a pharaoh of ancient Egypt who reigned from approximately 1353 to 1336 BCE during the 18th dynasty. His reign is noted for its dramatic departure from traditional Egyptian religious practices, making him one of the most controversial and enigmatic figures in Egyptian history. Born as Amenhotep IV, Akhenaten was the son of Amenhotep III and Queen Ti. His exact birth date is not well documented, but it is believed he was born around 1380 BCE. His upbringing was marked by his father's immense wealth and power, with Egypt enjoying a period of prosperity and political stability. Amenhotep III's reign was characterized by monumental building projects, diplomatic marriages, and a flourishing of the arts. Rise to power. Amenhotep IV ascended the throne after his father's death around 1353 BCE. His early reign began with the continuation of his father's policies, but he soon began to distance himself from the traditional religious practices of Egypt. This shift was not immediately apparent, as Akhenaten initially continued with the construction of temples and other projects. However, it became clear that his reign would mark a significant departure from established norms. Religious revolution. The most notable aspect of Akhenaten's reign is his religious reform, often referred to as the Amarna Revolution. Akhenaten introduced a monotheistic worship centered around Aten, the sun disk. This shift represented a radical departure from Egypt's polytheistic tradition, which had worshipped a pantheon of deities. Akhenaten's devotion to Aten was unprecedented. He sought to establish Aten as the sole deity of Egypt. To promote this new faith, Akhenaten changed his name from Amenhotep IV to Akhenaten, meaning effective for Aten. He relocated the capital of Egypt from Thebes to a newly constructed city called Akhenaten, modern-day Amarna, to better reflect his devotion to Aten. This new city was designed to reflect the new religious focus, with temples and palaces dedicated to Aten. The religious shift was not only a personal devotion, but also a political strategy. By elevating Aten above all other gods, Akhenaten sought to consolidate power and reduce the influence of the traditional priesthoods, particularly those of Amun, whose power had grown significantly under previous rulers. Artistic and cultural changes. Akhenaten's reign also saw significant changes in art and culture. The artistic style of the period is often referred to as the Amarna style, characterized by its distinctive realism. Unlike the idealized representations of previous eras, the Amarna style depicted figures with exaggerated features and a more naturalistic approach to human anatomy. This style was evident in the portrayal of Akhenaten himself, who was depicted with an elongated face, protruding belly, and exaggerated hips, a departure from the traditional idealized depictions of pharaohs. The new artistic style extended to depictions of the royal family, including Akhenaten's queen, Nefertiti, and their children. The famous bust of Nefertiti, discovered at Amarna, is one of the most iconic and well-preserved artifacts from this period, showcasing the new artistic style and the queen's prominent role in the religious and political life of the time. Domestic and foreign affairs. Despite the religious and artistic changes, Akhenaten's reign was not without challenges. His religious reforms created significant tensions within Egypt, particularly among the powerful priesthoods of traditional gods like Amun. The shift in religious focus also affected Egypt's diplomatic relations, as traditional diplomatic practices and alliances were disrupted by the new religious order. Akhenaten's reign saw a decline in Egypt's military and political influence, which may have been a consequence of his focus on religious reforms. The diplomatic correspondence of the period, known as the Amarna Letters, reveals a weakening of Egypt's traditional influence over neighboring states and suggests that Akhenaten's domestic policies may have contributed to a period of instability. Family and succession. Akhenaten's family life was marked by his marriage to Nefertiti, who played a significant role in his religious reforms. Nefertiti is often depicted alongside Akhenaten in religious and artistic contexts, indicating her influential position. The couple had 6 known daughters, and their family life was a central theme in the Amarna art. The succession of Akhenaten's throne is a subject of historical debate. His successor was likely his son, Tutankhamun, who was originally named Tutankhaten. Tutankhamun's reign marked a return to traditional religious practices and the restoration of the old gods, including Amen. The reasons behind this shift are not entirely clear, but it is believed that the religious and political upheavals during Akhenaten's reign contributed to the restoration of traditional practices. Death and legacy. Akhenaten's death is not well documented, but it is generally believed that he died around 1336 BCE. After his death, his religious reforms were quickly reversed. The capital city of Akhenaten was abandoned and the traditional worship of Amun was restored. Akhenaten was posthumously condemned as a heretic, and his name was removed from monuments and official records. Despite the efforts to erase his legacy, Akhenaten's reign has garnered significant scholarly interest. His religious reforms, artistic innovations, and the city of Amarna remain subjects of study and fascination. Akhenaten's attempts to establish monotheism in ancient Egypt represent a bold and radical departure from traditional practices, making him one of the most intriguing figures in Egyptian history. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel